And at this point, EDG gotta save these rifles. No more money left to play with.
But also EDG looking like they don't have a plan.
Hope.
And honestly running out of a bit of hope
so.
as well. You can tell in the way that G2 are playing, they know they've got this.
Yeah.
They can feel the wind coming towards them. They're outplaying EDG, running circles around them. I mean, again here with Jonah P's positioning, but nobody comes out on top. We need to see something, maybe from an individual, like Smoggy's 4K earlier, that re-energizes EDG and gets them back into the game. Either that, or some kind of tack timeout to get a strategic change on things. They just haven't been able to stop the plants from going down. It feels like G2 are constantly in these spots where EDG are backpedaling and having to make solo plays like here where Simon just gets caught alone in showers.
Smiles on the G2 players. I mean, you could feel it. The vibes were taking a turn even in some of the replays we were looking at towards the end of Haven. You wouldn't think that's a team being pressured. The potential of losing the series, but now you can see why, taking it one round at a time. It's worked out nicely, and EDG, there's no timeout called. They're the ones talking it through in that short amount of time as well to try and cook up something here with a stimmy. Satchel, flash as well, sets up Icy.
Good nade.
Nicely, and a nade is nice.
Sees.
It was a little bit off the mark though. No connection for it. Leaf was low.
If Trent gets inside Thrash or Jonah P gets inside the dog, there is a Brimble on the other side.
Contact refight, I want to get ahead of most of this already, but do they have the weapons for the job? Nobody. Not long for this world. Can't survive in the middle of it, but it is a cheeky play. Nice one, just to try and call that one up and cut up the timings that G2 were trying to take. At this point though, again choked out.
Another round that they basically have no chance in. It would take something momentous from Kangkang. He's found a timing.
He slipped past. Leaf is down, and so is the pit, but Valen's immediately there to respond in through the back of the site. Leave it just out of Simon. Good for the clutches in the past. Coming to the roster. This is too much to do. Sheriff in hand. It'd have to be an improbable and impossible play, and he knows it. Taunt over, doesn't even spot him, doubled up, discipline, 1 HP and a dream, but it's an 8th round for G2.
And a nightmare for EDG. If we get some of that aggression though, coming out from them when they have rifles in hand, ults to work with, maybe that'll end up being the key. They did find quite a nice timing there. I'm not sure that G2 were ready for that timing necessarily, but without rifles in the hands of Edward Gaming, the G2 players were just able to react in that spot and win the fights anyway.
Dude, sorry, Nate. I actually don't know how, bro. Okay, Jacob's 15 and 5.
And that is so true. Icy taking over, 15 and 5. It's easy to play when you've got a star player putting out performances like that. We were expecting it from the other side on Kangkang.
This is the adjustment that EDG are going for. Any signs of the util as the C's being held, Kangkang's there with a showstopper.
Anytime you have ults like this and there's a deep smoke, it also looks like a sand crunch. So, as Valen's reading into this round, he's thinking short's dangerous, sand's dangerous.
It's out low. Prowler catches it. Trailblazer alongside the boombot to C's and a nade. Again, the C's was good, but the nade just a little bit too deep. Banks it off to the side now. Reposition from EDG. They want to try and take up that shower's control. Kangkang's still there. That's the all waiting at the minute mark, but there's no signs from G2. They want to take the TP pivot. The spike was already leaning over towards the speed direction, and a lot is asked of him. Over the strike through the back. He does land the kill. Needs to lock down his position though. In and out through. Find space for the rest of his team. Moshpit's going to be landing with 40 seconds left into the round. Full side control.
Thrash has already been picked up, right? Trent, I think, has it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So this is going to be the repop.
Wait for the second wave now. Straight through, up and over, not broken, but the timing taken across it. It's rifled in hand. Nobody in Chichu. To try and put a stop to all of this. Kangkang through the TP. Might have just done enough still. 15 seconds. Nobody not clear, but eventually is. 12 left. Time is of the essence. G2, they stretch it to the finest of details. And Simon again. Asked to do so damn much. No crossfire setup, but you know, as soon as Valen has taken that contact, the swing will be there from Trent. It has to be a miracle. It will not be the case. A 9th round for G2.
It's amazing the way that G2 are able to recover these situations. EDG had a stack on the B side. The Thrash found nothing. Kang is coming through behind them with a showstopper as well.
Can't believe it.
Valen's kill, when he comes back through, this one here, onto nobody, absolutely crucial. If they get locked out of the choke point there, if that solo player B long is not able to find that value, EDG have won the round.
Stay focused on us. Make the
Double operator coming out for G2 here on the attack side, just hoping that EDG overstep themselves, get desperate, and they have. Yeah, immediately.
Straight into the trap. Leaf is there waiting. Thrash to try and set up some sort of crunching through the angles. Horn's going to be revealed. Leaf squares up to it, takes the challenge. Trailblazer forwards, but way ahead of it. Jonah P had no one else to play off of here. EDG might have at least carved their way a path back into this round. Thrash round 2, Chichu with the push. It's all put in the squeeze onto these G2 players into a 2v3. Chaos sowed. It's not over yet, the job's not finished. Hearing all sorts of sound and heads, not expecting it, Icy! Frying them!
He's made this incredibly winnable.
Chichu dropped down to just 5 out, 50 seconds left. The footsteps are heard. It's a game with those timings down. Just what I said earlier, the finer moments of the round now. Will he catch it right from behind? The answer is yes. So, a consolation round. EDG, they get the third one there. To finish up the half, potentially enough. But listen, it'd have to be a hell of a comeback mounted.
Desk was looking at their bingo card earlier on. They had a 9-3 curse in there, but G2 have just looked so heavily in control.
It'll be a hard ask indeed. We'll find out on the other side of this.
One third round. Close. Very close. In this attitude.
To the right now. Is the GPS playing the cha-cha slide?
Geico can help when you get a flat tire with their easy app and 24/7 help.
Everybody clap your hands.
Whatever you need, from coverage to service, get more with Geico.
9-3 scoreline sets them up beautifully. Got to wrap up the finishing into the series as well. Against EDG, don't get me wrong, they've been tested, pushed to the brink, but it's all about how you finish. And find here, G2 looking unstoppable right now.
Think about this tournament overall. Gen G, favorites, ended up losing in groups. They're not out yet, of course, but lost. Fnatic, in my opinion, second favorites. They've also lost. I would have Heretics. Many of the community had Leviathan in that kind of spot, and also G2. A lot of these teams have looked shaky, and yes, G2 are getting pushed in these maps. But if this one ends dominantly, you've got to have your eyes on this squad as another one of those potential candidates to lift the trophy later on, to go on some kind of run.
That's the crazy thing about these events, especially champs, where it all culminates at the end of the year. G2, you can't exactly call them unlikely, or dark horse, I would say, to potentially get that trophy, because they have been good in their own region.
They were excellent at Shanghai too. They only ended up losing to those finalists. Let's see if EDG can get a pistol and make this one a game.
Grouped up now with a Dizzy. The Haunt not being broken. Already Icy rebounds that nade. As soon as he hears the wingman, that will be the plant denied. On the plant, see if they've got a second wave of things here. If EDG just want to evacuate. Grouped up. Hesitation in their step, and now going to be making their moves over towards the B site. Should be open for the taking. Leaf gives up a lot of this space onto the off angle. Chichu just wanders right into it. Happy to take that fight now, but G2 not willing to slow down, but not anticipating the full wraparound.
Beautiful round from Chichu.
Spike planted.
Leaf was even anticipating that there was a lurk happening over there. Pretty rare that EDG would be going through the teleporter without having some info on the B side of the map. The crosshair placement was not there, and Chichu cleaned up. Crispy round, lovely ghost aim. Now EDG are gonna have to win plenty of rounds here and start a serious ult cycle to get back into this one. Have to showcase us that their attack is a lot better than their defense. But that's the first step. I think it would also have to come with somebody like Icy cooling off.
Yeah.
And individuals on EDG stepping up. Felt like at the beginning on Icebox, it was all those EDG players coming up with the big rounds, the 2Ks, the multi-kills.
And never being shut down for it.
Haven't really seen that.
No. G2 making the most out of the round, just trying to squeeze out every little efficiency. Deny the orbs. Poor Trent's lucky to be alive.
The goal in rounds like this, just stack as many ult orbs on your players as you can, and then see if you can deny them on the other side too.
Yeah, definitely. Chichu is alone while taking that fight, even with the better weaponry. 1v2 in the favor of G2, even with Valen down to the single digits. No buttons called. Hard clear into the corner, just the shoulder peeking. And you're right. All the goals for the eco here. G2 just deny at the orbs.
I think they've done a good job. You're looking at the ults that are most likely to come online for EDG that could potentially start a comeback happening. And it's Thrash. That's the one that I always look at first. You just get it up so quickly. You're trading people out, you're getting spike plants all the time. You can go and pick up the ult orbs too while Wingman's planting. And generally that Gecko ult is coming online super early. And nobody's not even halfway there yet.
Simon. That's a read.
He was so confident.
Okay. Really the only thing going wrong here for the EG in that round, they didn't quite get the ult orbs that potentially they were looking for. To again get that war machine chugging like G2 managed to do on their own attack. But it's all good. Keep the rounds going one step at a time.
Yeah, it won't matter if EDG can find an individual to step up in this and carry them over the line. You know, somebody like Kankan, who has the only real rifle out of the group. If he comes in here and hits some blinding entries, it's gonna be a fight on showers. He's got his opportunity.
I'm gonna go for this one. Valen, early smoke drop down. EDG are holding the util here. There's a nade. It's a Prowler. It's all pressed forwards here. Now Icy is gonna get squeezed with a stimmy in play as well. They're having close range weaponry at short work onto the hold. G2 can find this one a bit of a struggle. Mosh sent preemptively. Mosh trying to break that wingman. He's worried about the spacing and positioning. He's already lost track of most of this one. But with the horn broken, spam through the box as well. He's still alive for God knows what reason, but eventually cleaned up. Bonus round for EDG. Looking converted, looking good. Nobody sticking a plan, prioritizing to try and get his ult online. Jonah P off from the flank now. Player positioning of these EDG a little bit separated. Gonna try and play that one together, and Smoggy will just isolate the fight himself, take matters into his own hands. So it's exactly the type of steps that you need to see EDG taking if they want to try and even up the scoreline.
Yeah, if there was a path to a comeback, we're watching it. The run through with the stim beacon, and the sting ended up being massively important there. I was putting the attention on the Kankan, but he got traded out. Double kill for Simon. They death balled up, ran through showers, and Trent's positioning towards the back of triple was riddled with bullets.
Safe place to stand. It forces the timeout out of G2. Maybe a glimpse really into, it's not too much again you can read into tactics. Only 3 rounds in onto the half.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make some small read in terms of how grouped up they were on that side of the map. I think that was 4 players running through shower.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty unusual way of playing. Possible that Josh RT wants his team to pull back a bit, give showers control, play for plant denial, that kind of thing. When you watch the way that nobody uses his wingman, took showers, and he just sent little bro in on the wild escapade
A solo
towards
mission.
default.
Yeah.
Stuff like that can really mess up a round if you're thinking about post-plan positioning before plan goes down on one. So there are some small things that they could maybe be reading into, and I don't mind an early timeout in this position where you're ahead and you're trying to stop the comeback from happening. Because the earlier you nip it in the bud, the quicker you stop big things from snowballing out of control. And again, eyes, attention onto the Gecko. Is this a showers crunch? It doesn't look like it.
No
from
one on the
G2.
receiving end. Yeah, G2, normally you want to play to try and break this horns.
Yeah, they're just looking to get the orbital strike online. Again, looking for plant denial. I think that's going to be so key here to the way that G2 are playing their defense. It's key for every team, of course, but it seems we're going to see G2 trying to play a more passive look to the defending side. Focus on putting EDG in bad spots.
EDG going to be creeping and crawling now over towards this B site. B's up close here, wants to try and take that fight. Bullets lay it down. Not enough for the kill though.
A lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage. Soften them up for Trent, but question is, can he do much with it? Just playing, peeking out of the smoke here. Found himself corner window of opportunity. EDG want to go over towards the A side now. There's no players there yet. But I see.
Leaf could easily take a timing through this Viper roll.
Just that, he's got there's signs of life from EDG if they just try and go fast off of this one. He has his own molly to try and slow them down. A snake bite in the back pocket. Icy's now there with an aid. This looks like it has some danger to it, I'm not going to lie. There's a snake bite. Slowing down the approach. It's the weakest players who are first through. They're trying to take that point of contact. Kang really separated from his team now. And weaving in and out. It's just spraying and praying away. Rewarded though. Coming up with the goods. Coverage has to be there, and it finally is. Valen shut down as he seeks to deny that plant.
Nade was strong though. Brought Shishu down to 33 health. And here comes a flank. This kill so important.
What's ahead? Patience, 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 Blade! Trent barely there. Grabs the kill in the end. And all this sound and pressure is being made as well. Simon doesn't know which way to look. Satchel's through and plays him in! It's disaster for EDG. And Smoggy is the one who now has to pick up the pieces. 1v2. Time played, time ticking. Smoggy's out wide. A tap, a stick, coverage. Trent lands it! With a bullet to the dome. It's an upset round in the making. Completed fully. Thrifty win to get that 10 for G2.
Doesn't Trent know it? They're feeding into the crowd there, knowing that they've just pulled off a huge one to stop that momentum. You could see that disaster occurring in slow motion. The weak players, like you mentioned, going in first, getting hit with the vulnerable as well. Leaf barely had to peek, and he caught that first kill onto nobody.
Mastercard Thrifty puts G2 right back into it.
Look at this death ball from EDG. Nobody watching Sand, nobody watching Fountain. All 5 players grouped up on A to go for a slightly delayed A execute.
That complete intent. Try and get this plant down now. It's overwhelming with the ults. Icy's avoided most of this though. Took safely. Putting the smoke, underhanded with the nade again. This is going to be denying the plant, surely. Nobody, no way. Wingman survives. In through the back of the site, though. That is overzealous by Kang. There was that punish in sight. Thrash through, and now it's detained. Even now, Simon! He's pulled it back out of nowhere.
Simon?
Gotta see that one again, somehow, somewhere. What was looking so damn dangerous. Leaf now. Not offered much in terms of opportunities. Spraying right through the wall. Simon finishes it with the secondary shorty.
Hidden gem
Yeah.
for the EDG team.
Gotta see that.
He pushes through by the look of things and just swings back sight and deletes 3 of them. But he seems like it was very unexpected. Take a look at this in the replay. As they're focused on retaking lamps, and he gets Trent in the back.
Beautiful.
Valen, Jonah P, not there to deny.
Yeah. The target priority too. Doesn't get flustered, doesn't get overwhelmed there when he sees 4 players. Picks them off.
Now at the top of the scoreboard for EDG, but still 3 behind. And last time, they bungled it on the anti-eco. They can't do that again.
There's no pushback from EDG. They're not going for any stimmy plays off the rip to try and punish these AWP pickups.
No, G2, despite losing the majority of the rounds in this half, have actually been blow for blow with ult. Basically because of what you're talking about, that ult prioritization.
I don't like that. If you are EDG, you kind of need every advantage you can get. You're going to just come back at the actual reality.
Trent is the one player with the rifle, looking to try to take contact against nobody, against Simon. The two initiators who are down to fight, down to scrap.
Played Leaf in. He's for the judge. Mosh now, as soon as they hear this boom bot. Nade again through, that's a TP'd up. G trying to, oh, Jonah P, you are right there behind them, but again, there's util into the back pocket of G2. Surely this doesn't happen again. Ring around the roses, they're running away up through A short once more. They can't take the TP once more, surely not. Running them down, classics in hand. Can really just try and stave away and play a bit of patience into the round here by G2. The plant is tapped from behind, it's wrapped. The players are being picked to pieces. Nobody gets that plant down. At least they do have that extension, but they've lost all semblance of map control here and given up guns in the process. Doubled up with the rifles, swinging through. It's Leaf who trades it onto Simon. Slow down once more. Fight with a bullet. Just through the wall there. Leaf will survive. Trent walking in. The barrel betrays him. Nobody's down, and it's given an opportunity. In for the 1v1. Adjustment not there. Snapped into the side. The wingman not being used. For the defuse. Trent goes down to Smoggy, and EDG are still alive.
These anti-eco rounds are so unbelievably close, and some of them, you know, like we saw earlier, going across the line. Smoggy's the savior there for EDG in the final moment. There was another bullet that got dodged there for EDG as well. Had Valen been able to stay alive for but a moment longer, he had orbital strike to try to deny plant. I mean, the way that EDG are celebrating here, you don't celebrate like that usually for winning an anti-eco. That shows you how close the scoreline is and how much they want to get to playoffs right here, right now. They need another 5.
It's operator v operator. Investments from both teams.
Icey's pretty far away from the action though. Last time G2 double fought over showers, it did not go well.
Alan's got to be aware of that fact. Burst through from the contact plays of EDG. Nobody is there alone though. This time, 2 much more players alongside him.
This is one of those rounds too where you cannot afford to let Smoggy get into post plan. He's got Molly, he's got orbital strike. Too difficult.
Already B getting dangerous. EDG trying to feign and put players out over towards B with the pressure. Simon's there, but he's just one man. I mean, it just feels so fake that they already offload the Seekers. G2 get full awareness now. There's no hiding this intent of this EDG squad. They want to land over towards the A site. Pivot options might be there if they try and take the showers TP, but Leaf is also going to be waiting. Mosh is down a tap to pull the util out again, but the timing caught with Leaf. Bullet to the back. Simon is dropped, Pit is earned, and finally played the TP to no avail. And you got to scurry, you got to run away now.
The Brimalt is just going to close this out. They've got absolutely no chance of getting the plant down.
Just not enough done preemptively to pull all this util out. It will take miracles, but again, like you said, orbital strike, primed, ready, nobody pushed back. 7 seconds, 6, down to 5, 4. There needs to be a plan online, but the time is lost against them. EDG, no more chances, no more opportunities. An 11th round, concatenated up now by G2.
Close and closer to closing out this match. G2 have weathered the storm on Haven, are currently weathering a comeback on Bind after a 9-3 half, but EDG forced to take the tag timeout. They just got outplayed here. That lurk, which was supposed to be their plan B, completely getting shut off by Leaf.
See,
The timing around his Viper Orb, lovely.
Not enough to sell it. Just Simon alone, who's just dumping his util over to the one side to see if they can open up A.
EDG have actually managed to get themselves an ult advantage now. They're 3 rounds behind and 2 losses away from having to drop down to that lower bracket of their group. G2 have burnt some big ults that are good for plant denial. I mean, the orbital strike being the big one. It was a great investment from Valen, absolutely secured them the round, but they can't sit back as passively And they also can't be burning up their utility early on too. Valen used his molly early in the round there because he knew he could always rely on his ult to plant deny. Now you've got to try to save stuff like that. Icy, I think, is going to be particularly important if G2 want to close. He's got to find himself in the right place because he can't rotate around as much. He's got the op in his hand. And he needs to be there to stop any push from EDG, that showstopper. Got to find value.
Has to be posted up.
I think EDG, it is more important than ever to dodge this op. Follow the utility that doesn't get broken. Try to push through smokes because he's not going to be opping behind a big smoke.
Running straight into it. Committing his own orb here. Used to cut up any sort of aggression in through and out of hookah. Sees it, signs of life as well. The haunt, at least the Prowler I should say, excuse me, shot missed, orbital strike, out and around here. Icy with the rocket! No way! Insanity with the movement! Kang. He's dodged and ducked and weaved. The fast play from G2 will be punished with a molly at the feet. Cooking them alive in the process, but the rifles are the one to claim the day. Simon delivers all that damage. Valen, too much to overcome. A rapid play by EDG.
Lovely punish as well. You know that the operator is not going to be in that spot. You've just heard the Viper orb go down at the beginning of the round. And not just that, Leaf beefed his movement. I mean, if Leaf manages to jump out of hookah there backwards and get that snakebite off, maybe this could be different. Maybe Kankan could have been shut down on the route out. As it was, you make one mistake, the whole house of cards falls down. That's what Valorant's like at this level. And G2, that mistake has now caused them to be on an eco. A 4-stack over towards B, exact opposite side that EDG are going for. This is looking like the gap might close to 1.
A lot of presence now and pressure supplied over towards the A site. G2 have been good at least denying some portion of this one when they're on the right ecos, but the players are not in the right places at the right times. I see. He's definitely going to be falling here. Satchels. Bullets flying his way. Ult's even committed here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, nobody feeling like he has to use it to try and clean up most of this round. Maybe just evidence, I think, of the frantic nature that EDG are operating under. It should be cleaned up, should be. And a lot of weight. Valen, though, isolated into this spot. Tries to pre-fire it into the corner. And rifle bouncing and hopping up in place. Simon once more puts a close to that round. EDG, they are crawling closer to equalizing, at least in this map.
The lead is looking very rough here for G2. On a nice edge, only one round separating these two teams. For EDG, I think a little timorous there in terms of how they use their ults. I think you needed to save those for some big rifle rounds that are coming up. Burning them on the anti-eco when you'd already got the plant down. G2 are going to take a tank timeout, so EDG have some time to think about this, but I think that's a bit of a waste personally. EDG losing a potential ace up their sleeve that could have been so helpful in these final few rounds.
Now, their eyes are set half ahead here. They forced G2 to take this tag timeout. Forcing G2 to come up with the answers. Despite how close some of these eco rounds have been, G2's money has just been getting knocked down consistently. Lunch money stolen, shoved into a locker.
It's been the new kid, Simon, who's been doing a lot of the shoving. Just moved to this school.
God, he's a quarterback too. The size of him.
22 and 13. The player brought in, looking to add a bit of firepower, a bit of a different skill set to EDG, moving the calling over to nobody. And it's working. It has breathed new life into EDG. They are close, so close to pulling off this comeback. It was 9-3 at the half. You can see it on your screens. Only 2 rounds gamed for G2.
Now, that's a horn that goes amiss. Supposed to clear out through the top section of E long. More uncertainty now into the step of EDG. 2 players spotted there. Trailblazer, G2 getting some good information.
Simon's got to be cautious here. There is a possibility that a flash could end up coming through the teleport. see that G2 are looking to clear out short.
They're
Here
going
comes
for it.
that Thrash.
Yeah, re-clear. Detainment catches onto him, but again, there's that reinforcement arriving. EDG, they want to try and put a stop to this one. Nade around IC! He won't be denied! The line is drawn in the sand! And any sort of challenge, he will swat you away.
What a beast! G2's going to try to make the difference on the other side of the map. He's found this lurk timing just as G2 have backed off. Could this be the moment? Could they maybe try to turn this 2v5?
It's a sound bait. Valen's holding. Valen's holding, but still loses the fight. Jumping around, that's a pit into the spawn. Going to grant him a bit of that space and luxuries, even if they can get into the A side. 2 versus 4 still here for EDG.
The double push coming out from Leaf and Icy is going to be fast onto this. They've planted, not for the pit, not for backside, but exactly for the flank.
So it's going to be delayed here. They have planted for that flank occurring, this fight. Contact plays, shoulder to shoulder. They split themselves up. Smoggy is alone and isolated. All comes down to this timing. Does he win this fight out? Can he make it a possibility? Across their placement, not ideal. And Icy, one more for the ace, denied from that, yet still the damage has been done. G2, it's a 1v3, no util left to his name. The defuse already tapped, stuck all the way. G2, the 12th round is earned, it's under their belt, and now one more step is all they need to take.
It's a beautiful setup, the G2 run. You saw that happening live. Boombot comes out, smoke, just to give Icy this space. He's not even that great with the first spray onto nobody, but then the readjustment shakes himself off, and every shot after that was perfection.
You are insane!
He's playing incredibly right now. Definitely one of Icy's best games at a time when G2 needed it desperately. If this was Icy putting up even his normal performance, EDG would probably have already won this map. They have needed their duelist to become a star.
He stepped up to it. As you've already mentioned, 22 kills. Well, the current kill leader, Simon, holds that title, but matters not if you end up losing the series. If you end up losing this map, on the precipice now, G2. Stalwart hold, defensive setup. Icy's primed and ready.
Kangkang's going to pick up the ult orb here. If we see nobody bringing the spike back over towards A, then G2's read on this might end up paying dividends. Okay, Kangkang retreats. Icy's in a spot where he could have got